This is part 3 of How to Survive the Night in the mountains of northern New Mexico. Keep in mind that in mountains, the weather changes in a heartbeat, and the mountains have their own weather systems. So it doesn't matter whether you're going to hike in the winter, the summer, spring, or fall. You need to have those basics that I've talked about in the first 2 episodes. Hydration, of course, is important, regardless of the season. One of the things I want to point out that particularly in the summer, people like to hike in cotton shorts and t-shirts and in running shoes. That's all well and good. And you can work up a good sweat hiking in the mountains in the summertime when it might be 85 or 90 degrees during the day. But when the sun sets, that t-shirt or the blue jeans you've got on or the cotton shorts that have a bit of perspiration on them can really lead to hypothermia because they become dangerous, because they hold in that perspiration that you've had all day. May have made you feel good in the heat, but when that sun goes down, it'll start to sap the heat from your body and can lead to hypothermia. So it's really important that when you do hike, that you hike in quick dry gear that's suited for the mountains, and if it does start to rain, they won't hold the moisture and they'll dry out when the rain passes, and you won't have to walk in rain-soaked pants or shirts or tops. And so when the sun sets, your body won't be trying to dry those clothes out because they will have dried by themselves. And though it may be a little extra expense, it can be not only worthwhile, but life-saving. In the winter, you'll normally dress fairly warm. One of the things we try to stress in search and rescue is when you start out on your hike, you don't want to be toasty warm. You don't want to have on 17 layers or what have you of long johns and sweaters and down jackets. It's better to start a little cool, maybe even a little cold. For example, if you start at the Santa Fe ski basin and want to hike out to La Vega or Santa Fe Baldy or any of the other really nice hikes, the first part up to Wilderness Gate is about 0.8 of a mile and several hundred feet of elevation gain, and it's a workout. And you'll warm up quickly. And you don't want to be stopping to shed layers right away. Though, of course, if you do have all those layers on, it is critical that you shed them before you start to perspire. Once you feel that you're warm, stop. Take off some of those underlying layers. You can, if you think about it, and you have the appropriate pair of intermediate or what have you long johns on that are going to wick the perspiration away, and then another layer, and maybe the shell over top. You feel that you're starting to perspire, open up the shell or take it off. If it's not snowing, you won't need it. You can stow it in your backpack or tie it around your waist for later use. When you stop and you start to get cold, then you can put it on and put it on before you get really cold so that it can work to keep in your body heat. Footwear. I think it's really important that you hike in good quality hiking boots, and this is a matter of what time of year it is. I prefer waterproof hiking boots year-round, particularly in the winter, obviously. But in the summer, if you do cross one of the creeks and have to step through it as opposed to on logs over it, it'll keep your feet dry. Merino wool socks are another good addition because even if they do get wet, they keep in the warmth and they dry out fairly quickly after you've walked or hiked a little bit further. In the winter, you might want to wear a higher boot that's insulated, which is always a good thing. And I prefer boots that come up to my ankle because when you're walking, no matter what time of year, there's a lot of rocks on the trail. They're uneven, and it's easy to twist an ankle if you don't have ankle support. Now, if you're into snowshoeing, then you should go and visit a high-quality sporting goods store, or at least go online and check out the various types of snowshoes and what's best for you, whether they be Atlas or MSRs or any of the other multiple brands. I know most of the team here in Santa Fe uses the MSRs, though I did start out using Atlas, and they are fine snowshoes for the typical winter snowshoe hike. As to micro spikes, I use Katulas. They're fairly expensive. They have a really strong rubberized device that goes over the shoe with a series of micro spikes that hang down. And for you combat veterans that know about claymores, I won't go into that. It's not appropriate for here. But in the Katulas, they also have stenciled in front. And for those of you that are familiar with claymores, you'll know what I'm talking about. So that you can put them on the right way. They don't come off. I've hiked in them for many, many years now. They don't break down. And they dig into the snow. And even if it's hard ice, once you get confident in them, they really do give you a lot of traction. One winter, we actually hiked right up the Nambe River when it was frozen over, and except for the waterfalls on Katulas, without any problem. There's a lot of other gear that you might be interested in. There's plenty of places online where you can find out about it. Not in part 3, which there isn't one, but another posting next week. We'll talk about the wildlife in the mountains of northern New Mexico, something you really don't have to be concerned with. And for the next episode of Search and Rescue, we'll talk about a woman on the Chamisa Trail who fell off her mountain bike. Till then, enjoy.